Hello, and welcome to the 2020 Year in Reflection and Celebration, presented by the Connecticut Hispanic Bar Association, CHBA, and the Connecticut Asian Pacific American Bar Association, CAPABA. My name is Dan Brody, and I'm the president of CAPABA. On behalf of both of your bar association hosts, welcome, and we are so glad you could join us this evening. Tonight, we are going to celebrate the accomplishments of both bar associations and of our members. Each bar association will also present their annual scholarships, and we are honored to have as our keynote speaker this evening, Chief Justice Richard A. Robinson. Despite the circumstances of this year, both bar associations have had productive years, as you will see tonight. In particular, CHBA and CAPABA, along with the Crawford Black Bar Association, the South Asian Bar Association of Connecticut, the Lawyers Collaborative for Diversity, and the Connecticut Bar Association, presented a panel in October entitled Law Firm Retention, the Achilles Heel of Diversity. CAPABA directors Tania Beauvais and Michelle Quejiero, CAPABA member Andy Correa, and CHBA member Virginia McGarity were involved in presenting a frank and illuminating discussion about specific things law firms are doing and seeing with regard to retaining their diverse lawyers. CHBA and CAPABA also joined with Crawford and SABAC to issue a joint statement condemning the killing of George Floyd and calling for action to address systemic racism that exists in our society and the justice system. To that end, all four of our associations joined a letter with Attorney General William Tong's office to support the adoption of Model Rule 8.47 that will officially make it professional misconduct for an attorney to discriminate or harass another person on the basis of race, ethnicity, and other identifying characteristics in the practice of law. It is fitting that our two bar associations are partnering this year. As the Asian American and Latinx population in Connecticut continues to grow, so do the needs of our communities and the imperative of commensurate representation and opportunity. For example, in this pandemic, Latino households are by far the most likely to have seen job loss or reduced work. On a nationwide level, post-election analysis shows that Asian and Hispanic voters were key to outcomes in several swing states in 2020. With the unprecedented challenges ahead of us, the role of affinity bar associations like CHBA and CAPABA has never been more important. And now, I am honored to introduce our first special guest of the evening, William Tong. William is pictured here with another groundbreaking Asian American Attorney General who you should recognize. Elected in 2018, William is the Attorney General for the state of Connecticut. A longtime CAPABA supporter, William was CAPABA's Impact Award recipient at last year's annual dinner. Please join me in welcoming Attorney General William Tong.
Hi, it's Attorney General William Tong. Thank you so much for inviting me to join all of you for the Connecticut Asian Pacific American Bar Association and Connecticut Hispanic Bar Association's annual joint Zoom extravaganza. I hope this year's joint event is one of many in the future that we'll be able to celebrate together. And of course, I hope we can do this in person together sometime soon. I'm really honored to be asked to offer some thoughts this year about the past year and also about equity and diversity and inclusion and what that means to me and my family and all of us. Of course, we've all had a lot of time to think about equity, diversity, and inclusion, racial justice, social justice after the death and the murder of George Floyd earlier this year. And before George Floyd died, of course, Asian Pacific Americans in particular had a lot to think about when people were referring to the coronavirus as the China virus or the Kung flu, and frankly, blaming this pandemic and public health emergency on all of us. And as I've said to many of you, and I think I might have said last year at the CAPABA annual dinner, I think equity, diversity, and inclusion efforts and initiatives are important for moments like right now, when so many of us feel like we have a target on our backs, when we're being blamed for a public health emergency, when so many of our brothers and sisters are under attack and are feeling the full weight of police misconduct and brutality across the country, and people are crying out for change. And that's why it was so important to me when I became Attorney General to make sure that my senior staff reflected the beauty of our diversity, that it was really inclusive, and that it focused on equity. And that's why I'm really proud to say of the 9 most senior attorneys in the Office of the Attorney General, arguably the 9 most senior attorneys in our state and state government, 6 of them are women. And of those 9, a majority of them are people of color. I also have 5 associate attorneys general. A majority of them are women and people of color. And I'm very proud to say 3 are African American, 1 is Latina. And I thought that was a huge and is a huge priority for me and my office and my administration, but a big part of my responsibility as a constitutional officer and frankly as the first Asian Pacific American constitutional officer in our state's history. And it's because we have that experience that we all share, that many of us share as people of color, and that the women in my senior leadership team share. It's because we bring all those experiences together that we are able to better advocate for people, all people, especially those who have a target on their backs or feel like they have a target on their backs. And in moments like this, when people need us to stand up for Connecticut and people across our state. And that's why, not just in the work that we do locally here in Connecticut, for example, in standing up for transgendered students and cities that respect and protect the rights of their transgendered students and neighbors and family members, but also standing up to the awesome power of the federal government in fighting in the Supreme Court for our Dreamers and the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, standing up to the president so that there wouldn't be a citizenship question on the census, fighting it back against the war on American immigrants, fighting for health care and the Affordable Care Act, and making sure that our employment discrimination laws across the country apply to our brothers and sisters in the LGBTQ plus community. It's my honor to do all of that work, much of that work in the U.S. Supreme Court, but in state and federal courts across the country. And I couldn't do this without you. Certainly, CAPABA and the CHBA, thank you so much for your support and making my work possible. And again, I hope to celebrate with all of you again in person soon. Thank you.
And now for the CHBA's 2019-2020 year in review. The CHBA's biggest event in 2019 was our annual awards dinner, which was held in October 2019 at the New Haven Lawn Club. As in years past, we handed out several awards, including a number of scholarships to deserving law students. The event also featured a keynote speech by Judge Nelson Diaz, the first Latino judge to sit on the bench in Pennsylvania. We also held an event at Quinnipiac Law School prior to the dinner to allow the law students to meet and ask questions of Judge Diaz. Also in October 2019, a group of CHBA board members and officers took a trip to New York City for the HMBA's annual gala. It was an opportunity to catch up with our friends and colleagues from around the country. The CHBA also celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month in 2019 with a social media campaign highlighting our members and a potluck dinner followed by salsa lessons at the UConn Law School after our October board meeting. In December 2019, the CHBA held a holiday social following our December board meeting. We had a fun Yankee Swap gift exchange and a holiday dessert potluck. We also partnered with HMBA Region 1 for a holiday toy drive in which we collected a number of toys for children in need. In February 2019, we went up to the Capitol to meet with members of Connecticut's Black and Puerto Rican Caucus. The event was sponsored in partnership with the George Crawford Black Bar Association and the Commission for Women, Children, and Seniors. The last in-person event of 2020 was an award ceremony in Boston in March 2020, held by HMBA Region 1. Among the award recipients were past president and board member Maggie Castenato and member and previous scholarship recipient Denia Perez. HMBA President Irene Oria also received an award and spoke at the event. Following the murder of George Floyd, the CHBA worked with other affinity bar associations to draft a press release calling for police accountability. The CHBA also partnered with the other bar associations, affinity bar associations, the AG's office, and the CBA to support the proposed Rule 8.4 change. In September 2020, President-elect Greg Chase spoke to local middle schoolers about Hispanic Heritage Month and what it was like to being a Latino in the legal profession. This is part of the CHBA's commitment to strengthening the pipeline from our local schools to increase diversity in the legal field. In October 2020, our local LALSA chapters held a joint virtual event on Latinx representation in the legal field, featuring President-elect Greg Chase, board member Diane Rojas Miller, and HMBA Region 1 President Ben Siegel. In October 2020, the CHBA recognized the appointment of Judge Suarez, a longtime supporter of the CHBA, to the Connecticut Appellate Court. Fall 2020 also saw several events hosted in conjunction with the HMBA Region 1, including a mock interview and resume review for law students, and an HMBA Su Dinero event. As we round out the year, the CHBA will be hosting another holiday event and community service event that will support college food pantries.
And now for CAPABA's year in review. CAPABA's bar year started in October 2019 with our 19th annual dinner held at the New Haven Lawn Club. At the dinner, CAPABA presented its annual awards and scholarships, as well as swore in CAPABA's officers for the 2019 to 2020 year headed by new President Dan Brody. Following the dinner, the Connecticut Law Tribune profiled Dan about his ascendancy to CAPABA's presidency and his plans to take the association forward. In what seems now like a bygone era, CAPABA held 3 in-person holiday parties in early December, one party in each of our 3 regions, Hartford, New Haven, and Stamford, which featured a shuffleboard tournament.
As we moved into 2020, CAPABA reached out to law school and undergraduate students to strengthen the pipeline of future diverse attorneys. In February, a panel of CAPABA members presented a program for Asian undergraduate students at UConn titled Diversifying the Law, Beyond the Model Minority Myth. The panel featured 5 CAPABA members discussing their educational and professional backgrounds, undergrad studies, and current careers for the Asian undergrad students who already were or had never considered a career in the law. As 2020 progressed, CAPABA held its last in-person event, a happy hour in Stamford, and then unfortunately we had to cancel a private special viewing of the dress rehearsal of the play, The Chinese Lady, at Long Wharf Theater that would have occurred in March and would have featured a panel discussion about the play and the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. CAPABA members also helped conduct mock interviews at both UConn Law and Quinnipiac Law.
In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, CAPABA joined with NAPABA to sign statements condemning the dissemination of anti-Asian statements and sentiments. NAPABA also joined with Act to Change for the 2nd annual AAPI Day Against Bullying and Hate. Starting in April, CAPABA issued a Connecticut-focused COVID-19 resource guide. CAPABA also coordinated with members from the U.S. Attorney's Office and FBI in Connecticut to report and combat anti-Asian hate crimes. We joined with the Connecticut Bar Association and other associations in Connecticut to raise money for the Connecticut Food Bank and Food Share to feed the hungry in Connecticut. Due to the need to assist small businesses and Asian American small businesses in these challenging times, CAPABA members Ginny Kim and Dan Brody were instrumental in setting up a pro bono legal clinic based in partnership with Robinson & Cole and attorney volunteers across the state. The clinic ran from May to September and provided legal consultation to over 60 small businesses faced with pandemic-related legal challenges. CAPABA held multiple social events in a game night series where members meet with each other on Zoom to play games like Bingo and Pictionary. The winners of each game night received a gift card to the local Asian restaurant of their choice.
This summer, CAPABA has focused its efforts on collaboration with other groups and constituencies in Connecticut. On June 4th, CAPABA issued a joint press release with the other affinity bar organizations in the state that condemned the killing of George Floyd and called for action. Our members participated in statewide discussions about racism in the community and legal field, served on important state task forces examining issues around the use of force by police officers and racial discrimination in the state jury selection process. And our president has been actively working toward the adoption of new rules for attorney professionalism and mandatory diversity CLE requirements. Additionally, on June 9th, CAPABA co-sponsored a screening of the documentary, Alternative Facts, The Lies of Executive Order 9066. And on June 23rd, Michelle Carriero moderated a panel discussion about Asian American discrimination in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. This fall, CAPABA profiled the 2020 Asian Pacific American Law Student Association graduates. Our Hartford committee held a socially distant outdoor happy hour. And in October, CAPABA, CHBA, SABAC, Crawford, LCD, and CBA presented a panel titled Law from Retention, the Achilles Heel of Diversity. CAPABA Board of Directors Tanya Bove and Michelle Carriero were featured on the panel. CAPABA also submitted testimony to the Judicial Compensation Commission about the importance of diversifying the bench. And Andrew Fang, Nandita Ruchandani, and Dan Brody helped a local church set up a nonprofit organization to support South Asian refugees in the Hartford area.
Greetings from Covenant Chapel and the newly formed Hartford Refugee Advocacy Services. My name is Fred Porter and I'm the pastor here at Covenant Chapel. And we are so deeply grateful for CAPABA and your help in the incorporation process. What was once just a hope has become a reality through the generosity of CAPABA in your time and your expertise. If it were not for your heart to help, we could not begin to implement the vision we have to help empower refugees towards sustainable self-reliance. HRAS will begin with the refugee population in Hartford that our church has helped for a number of years, the Karen people, refugees from Myanmar, formerly Burma. And we have built a solid relationship over the years, but also come to realize that there were limitations in the help that we could offer. Through HRAS, we plan to first help with citizenship classes and move to more areas of need, and our hope is to expand to other refugee communities in time. 2020 has been a tough year, to say the least. We have all faced some degree of brokenness. The voice of empathy calls us to acknowledge this shared brokenness, but more so, the voice of hope calls us to come alongside those who cannot help themselves and lend a helping hand. Thank you to Dan Brody and Andrew Funk. You were more than encouraging and supportive along the way. Thank you to Rashmi and Nandita at the South Asian Bar Association. And finally, to you, our friends at CAPABA, thank you for helping us that we might help others. Have a good time.
I'm Ray Withers-Tong, CAPABA Secretary, and here are some 2020 membership highlights. Founder Amy Lynn Myerson was elected and serving as current president of the Connecticut Bar Association. Director Tanya Bove was elected to Jackson Lewis's Board of Directors. Member Andy Correa was elected Managing Partner, Mertha Kalina. Director Ling Lee was promoted to Senior Counsel at Travelers. President Dan Brody was awarded Graduate of the Last Decade Impact Award by the UConn Law Alumni Association. And Director Michelle Quijero was promoted to Assistant Vice President, North American Claims Group of Allied World Insurance Company.
Hi, my name is Andres Jimenez Frank, and I'm the Director of Communications for the Connecticut Hispanic Bar Association. Here are some of our membership highlights for the year. The CHBA would first like to celebrate the appointment of Judge Jose Suarez to the Connecticut Appellate Court. Governor Lamont nominated Judge Suarez earlier this year. Prior to his appointment, Judge Suarez, who was from Puerto Rico, served as a Superior Court judge for a number of years. Felicidades, Judge Suarez. Congratulations to our former president, Alfredo Fernandez, who was recently recognized by the Latino Leaders magazine in its inaugural Lawyers to Keep on the Watch. Alfredo, who is an associate at Shipman & Goodwin, also graduated from Leadership Greater Hartford's 2020 Quest program. Quest is a program focused on community engagement and participates in the development of local projects related to youth, community, and economic development. Congratulations, Alfredo. We also celebrate the success of our current president, Patty Jimenez, who was selected as the Best Lawyers in America Ones to Watch for her work in the areas of mergers and acquisitions and venture capital law as an associate at Day Pitney. This recognition is given to attorneys who are earlier in their careers for outstanding professional excellence in private practice. Congratulations, Patty, and thank you for your leadership this year. The CHBA celebrates our former president and current board member, Maggie Castanero, in her recent election as treasurer of the Connecticut Bar Association. Maggie is also a member of a number of CBA boards and committees. Congratulations, Maggie, and a big thanks for leading the Connecticut Bar as it navigates through this pandemic. Kudos to our current Vice President, Keen Zimmerman, who was elected the Deputy Regional 1 President of the Hispanic National Bar Association. Keen, like Maggie, has also been actively involved with helping the CBA address pressing issues. Congratulations, Keen. Un aplauso for the law students at UConn School of Law's Latinx Law Student Association for their remarkable achievement as being designated as the Student Organization of the Year by the Hispanic National Bar Association. Congratulations, we are all very proud of your success. The CHBA would finally like to recognize the significant contributions made to the local Latino community by our law student member, Emilio Estrella Teron. Emilio went out of his way to help others during the early months of the pandemic. He recently worked for the Center for Latino Progress as a youth development coordinator, and this summer worked as a legal fellow with the Connecticut Commission on Women, Children, Seniors, Equity, and Opportunity, under the tutelage of one of our fellow board members, Stephen Hernandez. Thank you, Emilio, for showing us all what it means to be a good neighbor. Congratulations, and thank you to all of our members for allowing us to celebrate your successes tonight.
Saludos y buenas noches. This is Alfredo Fernandez. I'm an attorney at Shipman & Goodwin. And in terms of what the CHBA is to me, it is the most significant networking group of my career. It's offered me a cross-section of networking experiences and connections across the entire state, across different practice areas, with connections to other bar associations at the local and national level. As a past president and as an officer leading up to that position at every step, I know this organization from top to bottom, and I know its mission, its goals, and its people. And while we don't have tangible assets other than a healthy scholarship fund and a modest checking account, the value and asset of the CHBA is the people that make it. And I'm inspired by folks like Maggie, Marilyn, and Jessica, past presidents that have contributed well beyond their presidential terms and deep into their career because they care so much. I'm also inspired by the current and future leaders of this organization that are rolling up the sleeves and doing the good work that needs to be done. Patty, Keen, Greg, Diane, Gabby, and others coming up recently out of law school as well. The organization is in great hands, and I feel very comforted in that fact with you guys there. As I film this basically on Thanksgiving Day, I am grateful for a few things, and I'd like to point them out here to wrap up my comments. In terms of some of the things I'm going to remember about the CHBA for a long time is an achievement where we helped one of our then law student members convince the state of Connecticut to amend its bar association, its bar admission requirements to not categorically prevent an undocumented person from being eligible to be a lawyer in the state with appropriate work authorizations like DACA. They could be a lawyer, and having that end target was critically important for that student and others after her. Secondly, we've engaged the Latino law student community in Connecticut at a much deeper level. Starting about 6 years ago, I said, let's do a board meeting at UConn and get the students where they are. And ever since then, after it was well received, we've done a lot of our activities on campuses so that students are becoming familiar with the organization and establishing a pipeline for new, young, energetic leadership right out of the bar exam for us. And then more recently, we've started bridging some important relationships with an organization called Prospanica, which is informally the MBA equivalent of the CHBA, and the value there is immediate in terms of community impact, organizational cross-marketing, and forging individual relationships outside just the legal sphere. So as I wrap up, I want to thank you all for your constant collegiality, your longtime support in my career thus far, and I hope it feels mutual. I wish you a festive and safe holiday season to come. Take care. Buenas noches.
The Capaba Educational Foundation promotes the charitable activities of Capaba and individual Asian American attorneys across Connecticut. The Capaba Foundation Scholarship is awarded to an Asian Pacific American law student who demonstrates leadership potential, excellence in academia, and a commitment to the Asian American community in Connecticut. Thank you to Capaba members Tanya Beauvais and Maxime Mauricio for their generous donations to the foundation that make the scholarship possible. I am honored to announce that Jenny Marco is the recipient of this year's scholarship. Jenny is a third-year student at the part-time program at the Quinnipiac University School of Law, where she is a member of the Quinnipiac Law Review, a Phi Delta Phi International Legal Honor Society member, and vice president of the Asian Pacific American Law Students Association. While a law student, Jenny has worked full-time as a paralegal at Edible Arrangements, the Walt Disney Company, and Subway, where she currently works. When I asked Jenny how she manages to work full-time and go to law school in the evenings, she said that she recognizes the need to prioritize self-care in order to prevent burnout. I thought that this was very wise beyond her years and advice that we can all take these days. Please join me in congratulating Jenny on all of her achievements.
Hello, my name is Greg Chase, and I'm the current president-elect of the Connecticut Hispanic Bar Association and the organization's scholarship chair. Since our scholarship's inception, the CHBA has awarded over $110,000 to help students achieve their dreams of becoming an attorney. This could not be done without the great partnership between our organization and the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving. Thank you all at HFPG for the wonderful work that you do. This year, we will be awarding 5 students with $2,000 scholarships each. Our first scholarship recipient is Emilio Estrella Terron. Emilio is from the University of Connecticut School of Law, and Emilio is a past winner of this scholarship. He continues to be a strong advocate for Latinos with the work he has done with the Commission for Women, Children, Seniors, Equity, and Opportunity, and his continued work and leadership with the Center for Latino Progress. Felicidades, Emilio, on your second award. Our next scholarship recipient is Carolyn Foley from Western New England Law School. Carolyn is a strong advocate for immigrants, and that can be seen in her volunteer efforts to help refugees and her being a fully accredited Department of Justice representative. She is also a Latina immigrant herself and a loving wife and mother of 2. Felicidades, Carolyn. Our next scholarship recipient is Paula Leva from the University of Connecticut School of Law. Paula is a proud daughter of Guatemalan immigrants, has worked hard during her law school career to be a voice for Latinx youth in both her home state of California and here in Connecticut. Thank you, Paula, for inspiring and motivating future abogados, and felicidades on your award. Our fourth scholarship recipient is Angelica Matos Jennings from the University of Connecticut School of Law. Angelica transitioned from a part-time evening student to a full-time day student, but that transition has not stopped her in her amazing efforts in helping out the Latino community and advocating for legal access for all. She's also a loving wife, mother, and congratulations, Angelica, on your award. Our fifth scholarship recipient is Nestor Rodriguez Smith from the University of Connecticut School of Law. Nestor, an immigrant from Honduras, has worked diligently with the UConn Legal Clinic to provide resources and support for Spanish-speaking clients. Aside from Spanish, Nestor speaks 4 other languages. He is a leader within the law student community and our final scholarship recipient this year. Felicidades, Nestor. Again, congratulations to all of our scholarship winners. We hope that this award helps you reach your goals and encourages you to continue working hard to support, help, and encourage future Latinx attorneys. Now I'll hand it off to our law students to talk about why our Bar Association is important to them. Thank you all.
The HMBA and the CHBA have both been tremendous resources for me to connect with people, not just around the state, but beyond. And not just in a professional way either, but socially, and making really good friends in the legal profession. I've actually been lucky enough to be chosen by the CHBA twice for their scholarship, which has really helped me continue my law school path. And this last summer, when I lost my internship due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the CHBA was there, and they gave me an opportunity to work with them on a police accountability statement. And I got to pen that statement and write something on behalf of Latino lawyers from around the state, which was a tremendous opportunity, not just to make up for the experience that I missed at the job I would have had, but to do something purposeful this summer and to have something to talk about as soon as the year started. So I really can't thank the people at CHBA enough for their kindness, for their welcoming arms, and for constantly inspiring me to keep doing what I can. And I honestly can't wait to graduate so that I can work with all of them.
If I had to describe the Connecticut Hispanic Bar Association in one word, it would definitely be community. As a law student, whenever I feel like imposter syndrome is creeping up, I love attending the CHBA meetings because it's a reminder that I can and I will, through the representation very much present in this bar association that's not seen on my law school campus. I think the CHBA's support, whether it be for practitioners or law students, and that's something I'm extremely grateful for.
Hi everyone, my name is Julia Ramirez and I am a 1L at UConn Law, and even as a 1L in my first semester, I have already been exposed to the amazing resources and support from both the HNBA and the CHBA. I was able to participate in the HNBA virtual mock interviews, and I can honestly say that they have been one of the most valuable resources and experience that I have had as a 1L. I was able to have 2 interviews and really be given advice that are specific to me and the type of work and legal field that I want to enter, which I thought was invaluable and something I haven't been able to obtain from any other organizations or experiences. And with the CHBA, I'm really looking forward to the mentorship and all the support that I will get from them with the LALSA and CHBA mentorship. I'm really looking forward to it and so happy that we're able to have this support.
Hello everyone. My name is Keen Zimmerman and I'm the Vice President of the Connecticut Hispanic Bar Association. Tonight, I have the distinct honor of introducing our keynote speaker, the Honorable Richard A. Robinson. Chief Justice Robinson was born in Stamford, Connecticut, and is an alumnus from the University of Connecticut as well as West Virginia University School of Law. He was admitted to the West Virginia and Connecticut bars and is a member of the U.S. District Court, Northern District of West Virginia, as well as the U.S. District Court of Connecticut. Prior to being appointed to the bench in 2000, Chief Justice Robinson worked as staff counsel for the City of Stamford and as assistant corporate counsel in Stamford. He then moved from the Connecticut Superior Court to the Appellate Court after 7 years when he was appointed to the appellate bench on December 10, 2007. Chief Justice Robinson joined the Connecticut Supreme Court 6 years later on December 19, 2013, and recently became the Chief Justice of the Connecticut Supreme Court on May 3, 2018. Chief Justice Robinson's career is complemented by an array of public and judicial service, working with organizations such as the NAACP, the Connecticut Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities, and various committees such as the Advisory Committee on Cultural Competency and the Rules Committee. He also spends time as a faculty member of several judicial institutions. Chief Justice Robinson has long been a supporter, an ally, and a friend of both the Connecticut Hispanic Bar Association and the Connecticut Asian Pacific American Bar Association, and we are incredibly blessed for him to be our keynote speaker tonight. Thank you, Chief Justice Robinson.
Good day, everyone. And I first want to thank the Connecticut Hispanic Bar Association and the Connecticut Asian Pacific American Bar Association for hosting this event. In addition, I want to thank all the affinity bar associations for pooling together their tremendous talent and resources as we anticipate some difficult work ahead. In my discussions with my colleagues across the United States, I've heard on several occasions, I've heard them say that when it comes to the court role in society, the year 2020 may not have been the disruption that we wanted, but it is probably the disruption that we needed. I'm sure some of you are wondering why in the world would someone say something like that? After all, the poisonous ideology of hate groups and right-wing nationalism has entered center stage, and what once was whispered in dark corners now has been normalized. We are experiencing the pandemic of a century. Unchecked global warming, social and financial and political unrest, and the further polarization of American people. We're witnessing the attacks on the norms and the rule of law that are the very fabric of our society. While I think that this confluence of woes that we've been experiencing has forced us all to take a good hard look at ourselves, our country, and our legal system, and we are not happy with all that we see. I believe the year of 2020 can and will serve as a catalyst for opportunity and change, and we lawyers must do our part to see that it does happen. You see, lawyers are one of the most essential groups of the people in a democratic society. As you probably heard me say on several occasions, the rule of law is the fabric of our society, and we are the tailors that are tasked with the special obligation to mend any tears that may occur. Being honest, we have not always lived up to this important obligation. Lawyers have great powers in our society, but we have been, in essence, a sleeping giant. Unconscious of the world that was, it was the disruption of 2020 to disturb the giant and to hopefully wake it into a state of consciousness so that we can fulfill the duties that we are trained to do. And ladies and gentlemen, that looming task entails precisely what this program is all about. The importance of unity, reflection, diversity, and inclusion, and forward thinking in a nation that is rife with polarization, anger, and in some cases, views of the future that seriously threaten our democracy. As President-elect Biden has said, we must let the grim era of demonization in America begin to end here and now. Of course, I recognize that depending on where individuals stand, they may interpret the statement as applying to the other side. However, we need to be honest. The statement applies to all sides. And if one group or another believes that it has the holy grail of what's right and wrong, then I fear that we will get nowhere. I offered the Connecticut Supreme Court as an example of where we should be. We have 7 incredibly strong-willed justices who are passionate in their positions. And as I've said many times before, they are no shrinking violets. I can also tell you that depending on the issues involved, our discussions are usually spirited, occasionally challenging, and every so often heated. Yet, when all is said and done, we reach majority opinion based on the rule of law and the state and federal constitutions. If there is a dissent, that position is fully explained and put on the record. We then move on to our next case. There is no great secret to our success. We may vociferously disagree with a colleague's take, but we respect his or her position. And in the end of the day, we are part as colleagues, unified by a common mission and commitment to our constitutional obligations as a branch of government in a democratic society. Ever the optimist, I believe that we can achieve the same result on a broader scale and come together on our shared goals and aspirations. For the legal community, this means stepping up the defense of the rule of law in our courts. Yes, civility amongst those ardent opponents. It is possible, and we must walk the walk if we are going to have any credibility at all. Yet at the same time, although we have one of the greatest legal systems in the world, it's not perfect. We must recognize once and for all that racial, gender, cultural inequities, and downright injustice is not a question to be debated as to its existence. It is a malady that surely does exist, and it's a fact that inequities remain in the legal system. More important, while we may disagree on the ways to eradicate it, we can still be united in our efforts to overcome it. If we just ignore it, it will only fester beneath the surface, only to rise again at another place or time. As Dr. Martin Luther King once said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Let the year 2020 be the year that our history books note that was the year that we began to really eradicate the scourge of existing injustices in our legal system. Now let me just add, I know that some of you are thinking, I'm tired of fighting this battle. Why is the onus on me? Why am I the only one who is being subjected to this treatment? Why do I always have to be the one who steps up? Look, I get it. As Fannie Lou Hamer once said, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. Here is the reality. We can either step up and bring it or step out and quit. It is long past the time that we lawyers need to commit to real and immediate change. The affinity bars have a crucial role in helping us achieve that goal. The diversity you bring to the table is a great strength, for it is only when we have the opportunity to share our life's experience with people who have different life experiences that we may adequately reflect on the changes that we need to make and how to bring those changes about. This is precisely why I recently asked members of the Affinity Bar Associations to serve as members of the Judicial Branch Jury Selection Task Force, which the Connecticut Supreme Court established through its 2019 ruling in State v. Holmes. According to the court's ruling, the task force mission is to study the issue of racial discrimination in juries, to consider measures intended to promote the selection of diverse jury panels, and to propose necessary changes to be implemented by court rule legislation to the jury selection process in Connecticut. The task force is now well underway. It's addressing several critical areas. The process by which the judicial branch summons prospective jurors to ensure that prospective jurors are chosen from a fair cross-section of the community. Potential changes to the questionnaires that the jurors receive, model jury instructions about implicit bias, and the promulgation of new substantive standards that would eliminate Batson's requirement of purposeful discrimination. I fully expect to have the recommendations to present to the stakeholders by early 2021, and I'm grateful for your input. And make no mistake about it, we are talking about significant game-changing work here. Yet there remains so much more work to be done, and unfortunately it will take some time. We need to inspire, motivate, and encourage the next generations of people to become lawyers and judges. We need them to continue the work that you have started to bring about real equity and justice. We need to tell them about the importance of defending and protecting the rule of law, both in court and within our communities at large. We need to tell them to do pro bono work that will benefit the most vulnerable people among us, while at the same time we must fight for changes that address the circumstances that create vulnerable populations in the first place. President Obama once said, change will not come if we wait for some other person or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. And when you think about it, we really do have but two choices. We either keep working hard and succeed, or we quit and we fail. As for me, the latter is not an option. I truly believe we are in a battle for the nation's soul. Fortunately for all of us, I have never seen our state's outstanding affinity bar associations shy away from any challenge. More than ever, we need your energy, your talent, your tenaciousness. For I have no doubt that through your ability, the change that we seek will come. Thank you to all of you for the work that you're doing and the work that you will do. And I look forward to the opportunities that 2021 will bring.
Good evening, everyone. I am Judge Kwok. I am one of the members of the Board of Directors for the Connecticut Asian Pacific American Bar Association. I am very privileged tonight to swear in the newly elected officers for CAPABA for 2021. If we could have all the officers please state your names, beginning with the president-elect.
Dan Brody, President.
Carolyn Ikari, Vice President.
Yuri Min, Vice President of Communications.
Andrew Fang, Vice President of Membership.
Ray Withers Tong, Secretary.
Juan Chichu, Treasurer.
Okay, thank you. If you would all raise your right hands. Okay. Do you, as an officer of the Connecticut Asian Pacific American Bar Association, solemnly swear or affirm to to support the mission and bylaws of the association, and to discharge your responsibilities faithfully and fairly to the best of your abilities?
I do.
Great. Thank you very much, and congratulations on becoming the newly elected officers for Kapaba.
Thank you, Judge Kwok.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Patty Jimenez, and I am the president of the Connecticut Hispanic Bar Association. 2020 has been a year that none of us could have ever imagined. But despite all that has come our way, it's nice to look back to see what both the CHBA and Kapaba have been able to accomplish. With the help of our amazing supporters and dedicated members, officers, and directors, both organizations have been able to navigate through this new normal and, most importantly, have been able to do it together. I want to thank every single one of you for being part of this special event. I especially want to thank those who worked tirelessly to make this event happen. You know who you are. Thank you to all of our speakers, especially our keynote speaker. Thank you very much for your words. We hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation, and we look forward to see what 2021 has to offer.